Hey everyone, welcome back to the Plant-Based Theory. Today we're going to talk about food guides, the confusion surrounding them, why they've done more harm than good, and how we need to learn to ignore them. Alright, so let's just start right off the bat by saying that if food guides worked, we'd all be running around happy as Larry, healthy as Nancy, and we'd be fine. But they obviously don't work because our health is going down the pooper and we're more sick than ever and spending more money than any other nation on this planet to try to get healthy, and it's not working. So if it's not working, why are we still beating our heads against the wall doing the same thing over and over and over again? I'm pretty sure that's the definition of insanity. So for those of you who don't know, the US Department of Agriculture, or USDA, puts out food guides, and they have for a very long time, and I'm basically going to show you why they don't work and why we need to, as consumers, just educate ourselves and learn how to eat so that we can all be healthy. And at the end of this video, we're going to discover that there really are only 3 food groups. There only have ever been 3 food groups, and it's going to become very simple for you. Their food guide started a long time ago. One of the first ones is this guy right here, the Basic 7. As you can see, it's just 7 food group. Pretty simple. They say eat from a bunch of food groups. Unfortunately, one of the food groups is butter and margarine. Yes, a whole food group devoted to butter and margarine. I think the margarine industry was just on a kick then, and they were trying to sell the hell out of it. But also on the bottom it says that past the 7 food group, go ahead and eat whatever you want. So we're off to a good start there. Then in 1992, they finally realized that they need to do a bit better job, I think, and then they put this out, and everybody knows this. It's like the first famous food pyramid out there. They recommend 6 to 11 servings of breads and pastas and cereals, which again, I don't know why we keep believing them, but we do. So they actually did studies on this that showed that if you followed the pyramid, you would be more sick than healthy. So way to go, USDA. Again, doing great. If you also notice, I don't know if you can see it, but they've sprinkled fat and sugar molecules all throughout the pyramid. I don't know if it's just to make it look pretty or what, but certainly didn't help us. So once they realized that the last pyramid was doing more harm than good, they were like, oh, obviously we need to put out a new pyramid. So thankfully, you know, they obviously have our backs. They put this guy out. What is it? It's a new pyramid, except instead of horizontal lines, it has vertical lines. What the fuck? So anyway, those pyramids obviously didn't do anything, and they realized that our health was still tanking horribly. So they were like, all right, maybe these pyramids aren't working. We need to think of something else. I know, let's put out a circle. So they imitate a plate here, and they show that there's, 4 sections on this plate. We have fruits, vegetables, grains, and protein, and then there's a little circle of dairy on the side. Now, if I was back in 5th grade and I was doing one of those problems that was like, hey, figure out which one of these doesn't belong, I would instantly pick protein. You know why? Because it's not a food group. It's a nutrient. So they've listed on this plate 3 food groups and a nutrient, protein. Do they not realize that protein is actually available in every other food group that they've listed here? Who knows? I think they're using it synonymously with meat, and this is why people get confused and think that protein is like the best nutrient and that protein only comes from meat because of shit like this. It's not true. Protein is in most things, and protein is not a food group. So long story short, they've put out all these guides for years. None of them have helped. They're all confusing. They all have different food groups, if you've noticed. None of them have the same food group. Their main point is to kind of simplify things for us and just like say, hey, you follow this, you're good. Except the problem is when you simplify a very complex topic like nutrition, it leaves things open to interpretation. So suddenly we have people gorging on French fries for vegetables. We have schools saying, yes, we provide vegetables. There's red sauce on our pizzas. And it doesn't work. We are still unhealthy, more unhealthy than ever. And I'm not even going to get into all of the money that's given to organizations like the FDA and American Cancer Society and American Heart Association, American Diabetic Association. All of these organizations accept money from certain food industries. I'm not going to mention any names. Meat and dairy. and then they make recommendations because they've received money from them. That doesn't work when it comes to health. And I don't care how big you are or how small you are, I'm gonna call you out because I'm here to help people get healthy. I don't have any sponsors, nobody's throwing money at me. I wish they were. No, I don't. I'm here in the best interests of consumers. I'm here to show you that there are ways to eat healthy, but it's not by following any of these guides that are completely misleading, have false information, and are funded by food industries that really have nothing to do with health. Do you hear me, USDA? All right, so here we go. I'm gonna make this so easy for you. There are only 3 food groups. There have only ever been 3 food groups, and once you realize what these 3 food groups are, things get pretty easy pretty quickly. First food group, plant foods. Anything that grows on a tree, in the ground, on a bush, you name it, okay? We've got vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, legumes, herbs. You can eat it out of the ground, it's a plant food. And I'm talking about a plant food in its whole form, not a carrot that we've made into carrot cake. Then we have our animal foods, group 2. Anything that comes from an animal. So we have cuts of meat, eggs, seafood, anything that has not been processed yet. So literally you are cutting it off an animal or it comes from an animal and you're cooking it and eating it. Last food group, processed food. Anything that doesn't naturally occur on this planet on its own, something that was made by man. These are things like yogurts, cheeses, protein bars, protein powders, chips, pasta, bread, cereal, most of the junk you can find in a grocery store. Got it? Simple. 3 easy food groups: plants, animals, processed. One of these groups provides way more nutrients than the other groups. I'll give you 3 guesses and the first 2 don't count. Plant food for the win! They provide an abundance of vitamins and minerals and antioxidants and carotenoids and phytonutrients and all of these smaller nutrients that really promote our health and boost our immune system, help our digestion and our metabolism. And if we focus on eating plants, we're gonna get a lot of those. If we don't focus on eating plants, then we don't get a lot of those. If we focus on plants, we eat less of some of the destructive nutrients that come from the other food groups. You know, if we're talking about processed foods, there are so many thickeners and stabilizers and food colorings and sweeteners and all of this junk that we pour into foods that we consider safe. We can also avoid a lot of the junk that's pumped into animals, like hormones and antibiotics. And so by focusing on plants, you will get an abundance of nutrients. You will start to avoid all of the other junk that's in the other 2 food groups, and your health will start to elevate. It's that simple. You can do this in a large scale, like over, the course of a week. You focus on eating as many plant foods as you can, but you can also do it on a smaller scale. If you look at your plate, is it mainly whole plant foods or is it mainly processed foods and animal foods? If you can take each plate and have mostly plant foods there, and I'm talking about whole plant foods, there should be a wide range of colors on your plate. You're doing good. This is the start, okay? We're obviously going to dive in a lot deeper, but for now, just know that there are 3 food groups, and if you can focus on the plants, you're going to get the most nutrients that you can get. Your body will start to heal itself. You start to feel better mentally, physically, everything. There's this little exercise that I like to do with people when I start to work on nutrition with them, where I have them list out all of the foods and beverages that they eat, and they cut out each one, so it's an individual word on a little piece of paper, and I have them divide them up. So I have them put all of the whole plant foods in one pile and all of the animal foods in another pile and all the processed foods in another pile. And then we see which one is bigger. Obviously, after what we've talked about, the plant pile should be the biggest one, or everything, if it were up to me, and less than the other 2 food groups. If you have more processed foods, if you have more animal foods, you guaranteed are deficient in nutrients. You are guaranteed to not be functioning as you should. You are guaranteed to probably have ailments, whether you know it or not, but your body is probably starting to fall apart. You probably have a lot of inflammation inside of you, and by starting to switch some of your foods over to plant foods, you will reduce your inflammation. You'll start to feel better. So yeah, go ahead and do that little exercise if you want. Let me know how it goes. Put it in the comments. Tell me if you've mostly plant foods, mostly animal foods, mostly processed foods, or a wide range of all of them, or if you have questions on if a food belongs in a certain food group. Let me know. I'm here for you, because the USDA is not. So that's the moral of the story today. Ignore all the food guides. They don't do us good. Sorry, USDA. I'm not very supportive of you today. Tell your friends what you learned about today. Thanks for watching. If you are a YouTube user, as always, please subscribe. Click on the little bell so you get notifications next time I put out another fantastic video. I'm really sleep deprived today, if you haven't noticed. Sorry. And if there are any topics you want me to cover, go ahead and put them in the comments. Again, I have a whole list of things I'm going to get to, but I'm happy to touch on something that you want me to discuss sooner rather than later. See you next time. Bye.